Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another reaction. I'm so excited. We're finally here. It took a little bit of time, but we're checking out T.O.P's Top Spot, Another Dimension, the full album. I already reacted to Desperado and Studio 54, and technically Studio 54 apparently had a song called Another Dimension Holy Dude, which is ADHD, ironically as well. Very excited about this one. As always, if you guys are interested in any extra content that relates to Top/Big Bang, just in general, consider checking out the top comment or pinned comment, sorry, which includes a full list of all of the available reactions that I have for Big Bang and Big Bang related stuff over at Patreon, including Coachella. Week 1 already did. Week 2 I'm going to be doing soon as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first song is Self-Crucifixion.
I may be 99% angel, but that 1% gets me in trouble.
Is that from a movie or something? Because he is a bit of a film buff, so it wouldn't surprise me. Top great.
부활한 내 꿈은 무한대 내 팬들 기다린 내 포기와 정반대 나 음악 만든 몇째 탄생 깔짝깔짝 나를 받자 온라인 내 유명세는 더 high 이미 난 ready to die.
Damn.
여기가 네 무릎 위 Master Top Spot 최위 더위 최고위 대굴 내 20대식 배그 엉켜버린 매듭 주홍글씨 내 죄는 Silly boy I love my mosquitoes sucker.
Oh damn. Yo. Pringles, holy shit. Okay, man, this is so fucking good. The first thing that I want to talk about is, like, I love the fact that he kind of like equates all these people, whether it's journalists, whether it's, you know, haters online, he equates them all to mosquitoes, to a circus, to stalkers, people that cannot wait to see you make the wrong move, make a mistake, or people that cannot wait to throw your past in your face as if you are incapable of change. The fact that he is where he is right now, and he literally says, I'm reborn while making music. My fans waiting is the complete opposite of me giving up. I'm reborn while making music. I am me again. The Top's greed part, the greed is almost like a metaphor for him living unapologetically himself, living to his own, almost like driven by his own greed to be the best him that he can possibly be, being at the top, no pun. So it's a circus, being like an animal at a circus. He feels like he's at a circus. So he loves the mosquitoes, the circus, the stalkers. As long as they keep on being there, it basically means that something is working and I'm still at that top spot, right? He also says, and that also relates to the, you can keep acting up online in little ways. You can keep talking your shit and do whatever you want. I don't give a shit about that, right? He says something after that, my fame is high, I'm already ready to die. This is really interesting because obviously Top is someone who basically almost died. I do feel like it's probably relating to that because he says my fame is high. The overdose, he was staring death in the face basically, and now he lives with nothing to lose. And that's what people fear the most, is someone that has nothing to lose. and someone who lives for his greed, which is again a metaphor to living your best life unapologetically himself. So keep on getting to that top spot in every fucking way possible. Maybe I'm a little bit off. Let me know in the comment section, but that's how I kind of like feel like about this. He also says, tangled knots, the scarlet letter of my sin, I'm a silly boy. The sin maybe relates to the downfall with the 2017 incident. But also, let's see, the scarlet letter is a direct reference to a novel from the 1850s, where the protagonist, Hester Prynne, is forced to wear a red A on her chest as public punishment for adultery. A permanent mark of shame visible to everyone, basically equating himself to someone that has like this mark, and he has like this fucking giant ass woman yelling shame with a fucking bell, if you watch Game of Thrones, yelling shame as he walks through everywhere. So T.O.P draws that direct parallel. His cannabis conviction and overdose became his own scarlet letter, a public mark he couldn't escape in Korean media. And now the self-crucifixion is basically kind of like absolving himself of all of these sins, because he's the only one that can forgive himself, and he's the only one that can get better for his own sake, because the people online will never let him get better because they like seeing him in a bad place. Like those mosquitoes, the people acting online, the media just in general, the way he was portrayed. For, again, I talked about it in my Studio 54 reaction, but I'm sure that some of you guys even watching these reactions might be fucking smoking a joint or doing something with cannabis right fucking now. So imagine being canceled so much so that you actually thought about canceling yourself permanently. Fucking insane. So, the fact that he's kind of like airing all of this out is like his own kind of like public self-crucifixion and absolving himself of all of this.
여기가 네 모두 위 마스터 탑 스팟 최위 더위 최고위 대구 내 20대씩 배그 엉켜버린 매듭 주홍기 시내 트레는 Silly boy I love my mosquito sucker 다 legal 참 jingle 다 legal jingle 다 legal
And the chorus basically very self-explanatory about how he feels about this.
인기 그룹 빅뱅의 탑 최승현 씨가 대마초를 피운 혐의로 재판에 넘겨진 그룹 빅뱅의 탑 최승현 씨.
Okay, so this is the actual broadcast of.
환자의 의식 상태는 동공이 축소되어 있었고
최승현 씨가
real name is 최승현 marijuana use
중환자실에 입원.
최 씨의 어머니는
상태가 호전됐다고 밝혔습니다.
많이 좋아졌습니다.
Oh, that's right.
일론 머스크의 우주 기업
Yo,
유일하게 선발된 탑 최승현 씨 최초의 민간
this is kind of wild. Because I just remember some of the comments that he was literally chosen for the SpaceX thing, like traveling to the moon. Like literally the whole Moon Man stuff is not just like a reference to some of the stuff that we've seen him in Big Bang and like, you know, Still Alive, him being on the moon and like the previous, maybe it was Bang Bang Bang, right? Him talking to himself and whatever. A lot of people are like, the whole moon stuff is also relating to the fact that he kind of like didn't get the chance to do that. Which is kind of wild. Like, so I'm guessing this is like the actual broadcast bits from the actual media television pieces of all the stuff that was happening.
name is 최승현, marijuana use.
중환자실에 입원.
최 씨의 어머니는
상태가 호전됐다고 밝혔습니다.
많이 좋아졌으니까.
탑은 어떻게
일론 머스크의 우주기업 한국인 최초로 유일하게 선발된 탑 최승현 씨 최초의 민간 스페이스에 갈 여행객 꿈을 가진 사람이라.
Yo, I hate this. Like, literally, the media even tried to fucking twist this, and in Squid Game 2, of all things, he plays a retired addicted rapper and a controversial idol. If anything, I'm sure that, like, the amount of fun that he must have had with that role, and also, if you are unable to see kind of like the almost like therapeutic nature of acting as like, I can't even say like the version of yourself. It's not even an exaggerated version like Top. That's not Top, obviously, but that the way he played Thanos, I'm sure that it felt at times even therapeutic. I haven't watched any of his interviews, and if he had more than just one, honestly, with the way the media fucking is over there in Korea, I wouldn't want to talk to the media at all, to be honest.
넘겨진 그룹 빅뱅의 탑 최승현 씨의
약물 과다 복용으로
담당 루틴을 브리핑.
And you can see that his heart was always in the right place, because like the first thing that he says is, "I'm sorry to the fans."
real name is 최승현, marijuana use.
중환자실에 입원.
최 씨의 어머니는
상태가 호전됐다고 밝혔습니다.
Damn.
많이 좋아졌으니까.
탑은 어떻게
일론 머스크의 우주기업
Very horror-esque sound effects.
최승현 씨 최초의 민간 스페이스에 갈 여행객 꿈을 가진 사람이라면 무엇이든 가능하다는 것을 느끼게 해드리고 싶다고 기업은 소감을 밝혔는데요. 빅뱅 지우기 데뷔 18주년을 축하한 빅뱅 팬들의 계정을 차단했다고 합니다. 탑의 달여행이 취소됐어요. 제 꿈은 결코 끝난 것이 아니다라고 밝혔습니다.
The controversial idol.
언론과 마주 앉았습니다.
논란에 휩싸였던 빅뱅 출신 탑이 11년 만에 언론 인터뷰를 갖고 오징어 게임 2에서 하필이면 또 은퇴한 마약 중독자 래퍼 역할을
Honestly, if I had some,
근데 항상 미안해요. 요즘 뭐 하냐고요? I make my music.
and that's the thing. I make my music literally to call back to the beginning of the song of him saying, I was reborn while making my music. So it's almost like this metamorphosis kind of like effect that took place where he reached his lowest low in a way, and that kind of, in a way, it freed him. Obviously, if he was in a different country that wasn't nearly as strict about marijuana and cannabis just in general. I mean, as an MMA fan, I remember when like a fighter at the UFC got suspended for smoking marijuana because it's somewhat of a performance enhancing drug, when in reality it was more so to, you know, calm, like it's a lot of people get prescription for that, you know. So I thought that was kind of like the worst of it. And then when I got into K-pop, obviously that's when I realized that, oh shit, marijuana and cannabis it's a deadly game to even try it. So, you know, if I had some, honestly, I had a couple of joints in my life. I would smoke one right now in solidarity with Top, to be honest. Because, you know, in a way, as horrible as everything that has transpired, it basically kind of like freed him to realize that he can now do whatever the fuck he wants. And the fact that the fans are right behind him just proves that he never fell off that top spot, no pun. So, yeah, that was fucking amazing, and literally a perfect name for that song, Self-Crucifixion. Like, he was crucified by the media, and now kind of like putting all of it out there and kind of like voicing it with his own voice, basically voicing it himself, is kind of like creating that crucifixion, self-crucifixion, and creating a metamorphosis kind of like effect of him being free and flying off to the top spot, no pun again, so I'm gonna do that a lot, sorry, and being his truest self that he can possibly be. So our music, yeah. Yeah, man, I love it. Only I could conquer myself. The swamp of despair just made me grow. literally, as horrible as it happened, and as much as I don't want to look at it that way, but you have to, and maybe he does as well, probably the best thing that happened to him because it freed him. Obviously, if I could reverse time, change the laws a little bit over at Korea, or just whatever, it's not even stopping him from getting that cannabis or whatever. Obviously, I would if that was an option, but at the same time, you're dealt the cards you're dealt with, and you have to make the best and the most out of it, and he managed to do it. He conquered himself.
나만이 나를 이겨왔어 절망의 늪이 날 더 키웠어
Ooh.
나만이 날 믿어왔어
Oh, damn.
몰락의 절벽을 뛰어내렸어 그 모습은 다 번쩍 본질 어차피 우린 우주 먼지 마지막 대수에는 편지 The documentary 거인의 전기 션들레 형이 말했었지 어차피 세상에 없던 일 자본이 겁을 내는 미치지 겁쟁이들은 섬짓대기가 뻥질 지금 내 몸짓 티라노 덩치 그저 조연시 너조차 멈칫 I feel like pop 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 pop
Oh.
티라노 덩치 지금 내 몸짓 저울에 섰지 그저 조연시 거울 앞에 멈칫 세상 전지가 내게 주는 변치 나만이 나를
Damn. Okay, let's take it back to the chorus, because there is something. Sean Dulakey? So he is a Berlin-based creative director and longtime collaborator of T.O.P. The name drop is significant. T.O.P is signaling that his artistic reference points were never limited to soul or the idol world. He was always building something different, something that the industry couldn't categorize or contain, which is why crazy shit that makes the money terrified, cowards cat chills back, big corpse left dumbfounded. So he's doing something that hasn't necessarily been done before. A director shot at the Korean entertainment industrial complex, the agencies, the management structures, the corporate machinery that turns human beings into products. T.O.P spent his entire career inside that system at its highest levels. He knows exactly how it works and exactly what it fears. An artist that cannot be controlled, music that cannot be packaged, and honesty that cannot be managed. Basically, much like I said, he reached death. The whole line about my fame is high, I'm already ready to die because I already died once and I came back, so now I do not fear death. These corporations, these shields, these money-hungry entities and individuals do not scare me. I'm the one who is putting the fear in them because they never know what my next move is going to be, and I'm not afraid of being different. Love it.
지금 내 몸짓 저울에 섰지 그저 조연시 거울 앞에 멈칫 세상 전지가 내게
I love that maniacal laugh too. It's like, what you gonna do, bitch?
이겨왔어 절망의 늪이 날 더 키웠어 몰락의 절벽을 뛰어내렸어 사슬풀기 내 황금기 날 물어뜯어대도 다 fame goofy 나의 고비 내 각성하는 동기 인생이 괴팍해도 life goes on lies on me 반복되는 장작물과의 내 실수 밤을 사랑하고 애뜨면 실증 책임지지 못한 나의 감정 기복 하나 때문에 왔다리 갔다리 해도 난 조집중 지금 내 몸짓 티라노 덩치 그저 조연시
That was beautiful. I want to take it back to this second verse a little bit, but I also love like the pre-chorus, the whole damn world throwing curveballs at me. It's like no matter how, like it's almost like he reached a level because of his like honesty and his don't give a fuck attitude. It's not like there's a difference between being kind of like this rebellious individual that doesn't give a fuck but hasn't necessarily reached that lowest low. He's someone who has. And because of that, he's even more dangerous than someone that could potentially be bought or convinced or indoctrinated. Like I'm not like no matter how myself I'm going to be, just the act of me being myself is going to make the world throw curveballs at me because I'm different than what the world sees me as. So born a freak, but life goes on, all eyes on me. That feels like a reference to something. Eyes on me. Isn't that like Tupac or something? Let's see. Yep, a reference to the track Life Goes On by Tupac in the album All Eyes on Me. My repeated fuck-ups with my own creations, Fall in Love for a Night, Sick of It by Sunrise, maybe Let's Not Fall in Love. Sorry. Do expect some puns and references potentially to other stuff. My mood swings that I can't even handle, flip-flopping over one thing, but I stay hyper-focused. So, okay, I was thinking a little bit of like Loser and maybe a little bit of Sober, but he basically recreates his verse in Loser by Big Bang. My repeated mistakes with women, loving just for one night, then getting tired when the sun rises, my selfish pleasure that I can't take responsibility has now ruined everything. So this is such a self-reflection and almost as close to a literal metamorphosis as possible as he looked back at his past, him being mature, him going through a downfall, the lowest low, and now he's not looking at things as if he ruined everything. He looks at things that, hey, no matter what happened, I'm still gonna go wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna be hyper-focused, you know? So that's really, really cool. That's fucking beautiful. Man, shout out to the people that actually make these annotations for some of the lyrics on genius.com. This is why it's my favorite website to check out lyrics for. It's also really cool because he literally says breaking the chains, my golden era, almost like to also create like an introspect back into his like Big Bang days in a way, you know, breaking the chains from the me that I used to be instead of like staying in that zone and being too reminiscent and too focused on the past that I cannot change in the future. I have changed. You know, I broke the chains, not just the chains of being T.O.P, the member of Big Bang, but T.O.P, the one who actually came to the top.
사슬풀기 내 황금기 날 물어뜯어대도 다 fame goofy 나의 고비 내 각성하는 동기 인생이 괴팍해도 life goes on lies on me 반복되는 장작물과의 내 실수 하룻밤을 사랑하고 했다면 실증 책임지지 못한 나의 감정 기복 하나 때문에 왔다리 갔다리 해도 난 조집중 지금 내 몸짓 티라노 덩치 그저 조현실 너조차 멈칫 I feel like pop 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 wow 티라노 덩치 지금 내 몸짓 저울에 섰지 그저 조현실 위대한 성취 내 왕국을 다시 담아 10년 만에 끝내 off the grid 나만이 나를 이겨왔어 절망의 눈이 날 더 키웠어 Mysterious Run Become the giant
Damn, holy shit. So obviously we already checked out Studio 54. I will talk about it maybe later as far as like the order of songs, because it was very important for a lot of people to be like, hey, listen from it from top to bottom, which is the way that I was going to. However, there are some albums where the creators wanted the order to be the opposite, like from the bottom to the top or something like that. But yeah, so far it kind of like makes perfect sense. The lowest low being self-crucifixion, the giant, the one who endured everything, rose from the ashes. Studio 54, he cuts them off, basically cutting out the past, acknowledging the past, but cutting it off, killing the previous version of me, as you have like the woman in the music video, who I believe her name is Na. I think some people mentioned her being like a second-gen idol. And there's like basically 3 versions of T.O.P. The T.O.P. who's actually played by T.O.P. who's played by the woman, and T.O.P. who's played by the masked individual with the headphones. And it's like conquering and having like this conversation with yourself about who you were and who you want to be, right? So for now, I'm gonna skip to, well, actually, let's listen to Studio 54 again, but I just want to preference this by saying that I'm not going to talk about the song much, because I already did. So I love the fact that every song is at least 3 minutes. Kind of a small detail, but it's kind of nice in 2026. I played the song so many times at the gym, like goddamn, this drop is awesome. But even though I talked about the song already, but now with the context of the previous 2 songs on the album, it's like you need, like the whole conversation, the fact that the music video is like an artistic, cinematic, filled with tons of movie references and whatnot. It's like a conversation between various versions of T.O.P. Like, you need me but I just want to be free. I don't want to be held back by the top from the past, because I don't want to be the top from the past. I want to be the top at the top today, not back in my heyday. I don't want my heyday to be the peak of me. I still have a top to reach, no pun, So walking away from my past, walking away from Big Bang, walking away from all the past, not responsibility, all the past shit that I've been through, it's almost like, in a way, if you love someone, you gotta let them go, kind of. Maybe I'm just kind of like over interpreting it, but walking away, almost like relating that life to be something a little bit toxic, because it was. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate who I was because it made me the man that I am today, but walking away is the sweetest thing that I could possibly do.
Not too bad, I've cut him off. You know what I'm saying, boy?
Yeah. I want to take it back to this drop again, but one thing, and that's shout out to Sasha for actually making that comment. Dirty Son, they just ruined my soul. I did not think about the whole, is it Burning Sun or Rising Sun scandal? Like, the second that comment was mentioned, I was like, oh fuck. If that didn't play a role in wanting to walk away from everything and just kind of like reinvent myself and be my own individual self, like, so the Dirty Sun is widely interpreted as a reference to the Burning Sun scandal of 2019 involving a fellow Big Bang member formerly. The sun could also be Big Bang at the height of its glory, brilliant and blinding, turned dirty and burned everything down. It all started with the Big Bang. If you watch that show, nice. Anyway, but from that destruction came the moon, T.O.P's entire solar artistic identity built on darkness, reflection, and quiet light rather than blinding fame. The moon doesn't generate its own light, it reflects. T.O.P basically reflecting upon himself, the self-crucifixion, becoming a giant, and now going through Studio 54, going crazy. Soul could also be a play on the words soul, which again could relate to the Burning Sun scandal that ruined his own home city from 2018 to 2019.
Not too bad, I've cut him off. Bang bang. You know what I'm saying, boy?
This album literally shaping up to be like a diary. A bit.
Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon inspiration. Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon inspiration. Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon inspiration. Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon. Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon inspiration. Dirty sound, they just ruin my soul. That's where I got great new moon.
Goddamn. So the song's called Olvaya, Over, a small filthy show window. Ooh. Five different ways? Damn.
I'm sorry for the love 예전에 Big Bang 잃을 것이 많아도 거침없이 let it go 그리움과 큰 아픔 망감만 빼고 술잔에 꽉 찬 alcohol I was in small at the show window
Damn. Wait, let's take it back. I was in a small filthy show window. Let's see what is the annotation for that. A show window displays things for the public consumption, objects, not people. Top spent is... so the show window is like a showcase glass, basically, that you see at stores and whatever. Almost like turning him into like this object to showcase. The window was small, suffocating, no room to be a full human being, and it was filthy. The glamour was an illusion. The reality behind the glass was dark. So that is the actual meaning of small, filthy show window. But also like the reference to the 5 members of Big Bang, which could be that 5 different ways for me. It's game over. There's also it's kind of interesting, you know, he kind of like creates a bit of commentary on today's kind of like life in a way. Another reckless driver. The city is a joke if you try to live right, where everybody takes a shortcut, everybody cheats, everybody uses shit to their advantage, and it's the ones that try to live a normal, honest life that get actually fucked in this world, not the ones who break the law. Which I'm not sure if that's supposed to reference something else. Could be. Let me know in the comment section. I don't want to talk too much about things that I don't fully know and understand. So, this weird ass world videos, new posts. When will you come back? It's still awful. I'm sorry, but I loved my old days in Big Bang. Even though I lost so much, without hesitation, let it go. Shooting the version of himself back in Studio 54, the self-crucifixion, becoming a giant, escaping like a papillon, freedom, which is a reference to a butterfly in French, but also a reference to the movie itself from like the 70s with Dustin Hoffman, with a man that was wrongly convicted of murder, which he kind of like, I guess, draws parallel as far as like something that, again, cannabis, smoking a fucking joint should not have ever in any reality of any fucking world been a death sentence, which it almost turned into with the consequences that he experienced as far as the incident that almost took his life. So even though I lost so much, without hesitation, I let it go. All this longing and pain filling me up. A glass filled to the brim with alcohol to represent a little bit of like that depression, basically, as you were being looked at as like top Big Bang. You know, these are larger than life fucking idols, and there's nothing that you would rather be. You know, these are the man that you wish to be and the woman that your girl wishes to be with, like everything that you can fucking imagine, like the illusion of the glitz and glamour is actually a fucking false illusion with no regrets.
I was in small at the show window. I was in small at the show window. 나갈 때까지가 놈 무뎌진 감정을 담아주고 이거 배보다 큰 backup. 화려한 능력사로 남기고 새가고 난 떠나 Big Bang. 겁이나 순수한 너 날 딛고 공감성 이제 또 새로이 달려 지옥의 본진 지나온 내 아침 그땐 그랬었지 혼자 펑펑 나 평생 확실히 보여 나도
That is really interesting. I'll take it back to the second verse again. You grew up on my music, so I'm scared. Now I'm starting new. My morning stained with shame from the past, but then I cried and cried alone. But also, like, there's this whole annotation. Top explains that he wrote this song despite a sense of numbness. Pushing through the difficulty to make this statement, he acknowledged that he had already graduated from Big Bang and is moving on, but admits that he is scared to say it because he knows his fans grew up with his music and this change is heavy for everyone. It's interesting, like there's like various layers to this album already, because Self-Crucifixion, this song is more vulnerable in a way, because Self-Crucifixion, like using all the statements from television and whatever, and talking about the, you know, the fact that I needed to let go and I was already ready to die, so there's nothing that you can do to stop me. But this song goes much deeper because it connects within like the insecurities, because this is a song for the fans, you know. So he's betraying his vulnerabilities and his insecurities, because as much as I want to let go of my Big Bang days, I'm kind of afraid of the fact that some people that grew up on my music will not be able to move on with me now that I have matured, now that I'm going solo, now that I'm doing my own thing. And it's almost like a punch in the gut every time somebody might say, yo, I loved you in Big Bang, and it's almost like a little stab in the stomach or something like that. And he's like, sorry, I already graduated from Big Bang. This is not who I am anymore. Thanks for that, but I let it go. I'm starting new. So to live with like this constant fear and anxiety, and your own mind kind of like running all kinds of scenarios and tricking you into thinking that you're going to fail and no one's going to support you and whatever, even though it's not true. Our minds, when we get super depressed, we basically create like these worst scenarios in our head. Even though Self-Crucifixion is very like raw, but this song is much more like in depth with the feelings, because it's more of a conversation with the actual fans that he wants to not disappoint. Because throughout all of it, in Self-Crucifixion, the last thing that he said, I want to make my music, the giant stars with our music. And also in Self-Crucifixion, one of the first thing he said when he was talking about his own, like from the press release or whatever, he mentioned the fans. Like the one thing that he didn't want to do is disappoint the fans, and he was sorry for them, for everything that has transpired.
I wasn't small at the show window. I wasn't small at the show window. 나갈 때까지가 넌 무뎌진 감정을 담아주고 이거 배보다 큰 backup. 화려한 능력사로 남기고 새가고 난 떠나 Big Bang. 겁이나 순수한 너 날 딛고 공감성 이제 또 새로이 달려 지옥의 본진 지나온 내 아침 그땐 그랬었지 혼자 펑펑 난 평생 도대체 확실히 보여 나도는 물음치지 그때가 황홀히 비치던 노란빛 도서시 더 행복했지 한없이 무거운 그 맘에 무거워 더 아름답게 장식하리 나눠봐 난 평생 도대체 확실히 보여 나도는 물음치지 그때가 황홀히 비치던 노란빛 도서시 더 행복했지 한없이 무거운 그 맘에 무거워 더 아름답게 장식하리 나눠봐야
Damn. That's beautiful. Man, that verse was so fucking self-reflective as well. Like, I'll make it more beautiful, you know, now that I'm back as myself, free of everything, freedom like Papillon in Studio 54, I am liberated basically, and I'll make this life more beautiful because this is the version of myself that I am proud to show, that I don't have to hide anything because I am unapologetically myself in a way. That yellow light is interesting. Let's see. The yellow light is a reference to, oh, okay. Because I thought that it was like the stopping light. Like there's red, yellow, green for some reason, and I forgot that the light stick is a yellow crown, which is really, so it's almost like the entity of Big Bang will always be shining down on me no matter what. It's almost like a bat signal. Like we wish you were part of it, so we're gonna keep on signaling that in a way, but also as beautiful as that was, it came with so much pain. So I'll make sure that the new light that I will be shining will be that much more beautiful because I will be happier myself. So let's see. He does reference, so that's basically confirms that in the beginning he did reference Big Bang as the 5 members they were originally. So Big Bang had 5 members. After the Burning Sun scandal, the group went downhill. T.O.P is mourning a specific moment in time when the group was untouchable. So it's almost like there's like this one photo, this one memory that is like etched deep within your kind of like soul and heart, that was us happiest than we were ever. And I did watch the Big Bang documentary, even though, there's like that whole moment with Sungri, where I think it was him and T.O.P in the documentary. They were like taking photos of each other in like vulnerable positions and whatever, and they were laughing their asses off hysterically. Like there were moments that there was joy. There were moments that the music did something, and like the return of Big Bang at Mama 2024, if I'm not mistaken, basically solidified. Like your idols' favorite idols were singing and dancing, and everyone went absolutely crazy. That light, that shine, is something that, thankfully, that one individual, that whole Burning Sun scandal will never be able to take away from them, because Big Bang still exists to this day, and they just performed at Coachella. So the music was pure, it was joy, and obviously no one knew how it would actually end. So he says happier as 5 refers to the innocence of that period. Obviously, as I watched the documentary, and some of you guys watched it with me over at Patreon. Quick shameless plug, sorry. The bond before everything got complicated. So he grieves over, again, this is a very, like, this is like the chapter in the diary somewhere in the middle of the actual book that some people will not even get the chance to read, but that is like the deepest T.O.P is being, and the most vulnerable. So him also saying bury that dream heavy, it means that he's not throwing it away, he's giving it a proper burial. There's a tenderness in that image, of the perfect image that Big Bang had. The dream of Big Bang is laid to rest with care. So now I'll make my own solo journey a more beautiful life, because I will not let it get to a point where it's gonna be ruined. Yeah. Holy shit.
그땐 그랬었지 혼자 펑펑 난 평생 도대체 확실히 보여 나도는 무름지지 그때가 황홀히 비치던 노란빛 도서시 더 행복했지 한없이 무거운 그 맘에 무거워 더 아름답게 장식하리 나눠봐 난 평생 도대체 확실히 보여 나도는 무름지지 그때가 황홀히 비치던 노란빛 도서시 더 행복했지 한없이 무거운 그 맘에 무거워 더 아름답게 장식하리 나눠봐야 아름다워 갑자기 그리가야만 남의 교차 때문에 멈추던 차야 화려했지만 게임 모바야 I wasn't small at the show window 아름다워 갑자기 그리가야만 남의 교차 때문에 멈추던 차야 가위바위보 완벽한 time's up I wasn't small at the show window T.O.P.
Honestly, Dream Bigger kind of makes me think of Inception, which is one of my favorite films of all time. So in the movie, you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character that is like firing something that he manifested in his mind at the villains, and it doesn't work. Then Tom Hardy comes in with like this grenade launcher, and he says to him, "You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling." And he just fires it and blows up those villains and whatnot. So don't be afraid to dream bigger. Like, to a lot of people, this could have been the top, what he experienced, no pun. His past could have been the top, and he could have died on that hill, and he would still have as much love as he had back then, but he would be unhappy with himself. So he wasn't afraid to dream bigger and become bigger and separate himself, not in a disrespectful way, because he almost like gives like this little burial to his past. Like, thank you for what it was beautiful. I wish some of the bad shit didn't happen, but at the same time, I want to make my life more beautiful, and in order to do that, I must dream bigger. Dreaming bigger means Top being back on top by himself, kind of, and just living for myself. You know, much like in self-crucifixion, it's like talking about Top's greed, you know, being a little bit filled with greed to achieve what you need to achieve to get to that bigger status, and just to be unapologetically yourself, you know. Anyway, let's continue. Zero Coke is the name of the next song. Kind of excited to see what that is all about. Ooh. That gives off intergalactic, like interstellar kind of vibes, which fits with astronaut, moon man.
Open your eyes.
넌 나의 지불컵 달콤한 지불컵 화려한 mirrorboard 흥미로운 뒷감목 네 유니콘 지불컵 고단한 지불컵 어릴 적 뒷감목 유니콘 yeah 지불컵 달콤한 지불컵 찬란한 mirrorboard 그 시절 뒷감목 유니콘 지불컵 반복해 지불컵 어릴 적 뒷감목 그 시절 가봤던 철없던 거 더 덮는 거 I need somebody. We don't be thirsty. I don't know about it. I don't feel thirsty. I need somebody. I need somebody. I really need somebody. I probably can't be body.
Damn. I was not expecting this at all. Also, like, the intro for the song, like, legitimately sounded so cinematic, almost like a space movie. Like, legitimately, it sounded like something that could be from like a Interstellar or something like that. And honestly, it kind of fits with him being alone on the moon or something like that, alone at the top spot, being at another dimension. If you think of like Interstellar and like the whole twist where, you know, the whole bookshelf thing and like seeing the other dimension, wanting to be like Matthew McConaughey with his, you know, daughter and whatnot, to then coming back in what felt like to him just days or whatever, but in reality it's been like years and years and years, and she's on her deathbed from old age. Like it legitimately kind of like feels like almost like a bit of a cry for help, which kind of fits with like the whole vulnerability aspect that Small Filthy Show Window kind of like provided us as well. It's a really interesting song because it comes right before ADHD, which I heard just a little bit of through the music video for Studio 54, and you know how I felt about that drop when it transitioned. I thought that was the whole song for Studio 54. I didn't realize that it was a different song until like the transition back to Studio 54 to the chorus. I kind of like realized it later that, okay, it must be different songs. But it's really, really interesting to have something like this that is feeling like a bit of a cry for help, like super, like there's something vulnerable about it with the outro, with I Need Somebody, but also the verse itself. Backstreets in my youth, place with no fear, place that doesn't exist. Almost like it's interesting because some of the songs so far talk about the fact that, you know, my 20s back, you know, Big Bang, I graduated from Big Bang. It could be like a really interesting bounce from like wanting to end the chapter, but at the same time still feeling reminiscent, if that makes sense, because Small Filthy Show Window kind of like provided like this peaceful burial over his past, but it doesn't mean necessarily that he's gonna let it go or not feel like he misses it. Like putting it to bed, putting it to rest, you can still miss it at the same time. So, and back then, in that perfect image of what Big Bang used to be, you know, the joy, the one image back in time where all of them were happy and everything was perfect. Like, I need that somebody maybe as well. Like, I feel like maybe this song kind of like alludes to the struggles of being a solo as well. I'm not really sure, but let me know your thoughts in a way, and if you felt like those cinematic kind of like interstellar vibes in a way, or another like movie about space. But let's keep going to ADHD. Very excited to listen to the full song finally. Oh, and it also starts with Open Your Eyes. It feels like a Stanley Kubrick movie now. Which is ironic, because he had like that whole reference in one of his past music videos to like Space Odyssey, if I'm not mistaken, with like the monkey that froze like the thing, and then the next shot is the moon. There's like a literal reference to that scene. The fact that in the chorus he references Kubrick, I swear I didn't look at it before I said Stanley Kubrick. I'm feeling your wave, Top. I'm feeling that frequency.
Noisy words stack it up 침묵의 아픔 치료 난 비로소 빌어 나 소리쳐 우주 밀어 stack it up more stack it up noise word more stack it up 내 영과 육신 맞춰져 달과 수신 stack it up make it up stack it up back it up more fuck em up 또 비려나 소리 공연에 back it up more 우주 밀어 fuck em up fuck em up fuck em up fuck em up 내 세영과 육신 이 밤의 달의 신 I drove you in feel like it wish it read to see 지난 과거 멀미야 더 큰 일들 위해 I drove beauty just more music feel like it wish it read to see 지난 과거 멀미야 찬란한 일들 위해.
Damn. Holy shit. Let's take it back. I love this chorus. This album is amazing, like, but it is as in-depth with like his feelings as it is being just a flat-out dope-ass album. And I love like the whole healing the pain in silence, finally I rise now. Much like you talked about Studio 54, freedom, Papillon, like rising from the ashes, getting that freedom, breaking through and whatever. Walking away, being a sweet feeling and whatnot, as he said also in Studio 54. You know, this in this noisy world, this is, let's see, the continuation of the previous song Zero Coke on the album. Also, this is a direct continuation, which is now starting to make more sense with the whole like vulnerability aspect from Zero Coke and how it feels like a bit of a cry for help towards the end. So this is a continuation of the previous song, Coke Zero, on the album, which also repeats Open Your Eyes. Zero Coke ended with T.O.P yelling he needs somebody and the song abruptly stopped. Now onto this song, it starts with his heartbeat starting back up at the hospital, likely voices whispering in his ear to open his eyes. The female voice could be speculated to be his mother, so this could, oh my god, so it's legitimately, I need somebody in Zero Coke. I didn't have anybody. I was at my lowest low, feeling like I'm about to lose it all, having the incident in 2017, basically almost dying, to then opening my eyes, getting a true shot at redemption, to be my true self and letting go of everything, therefore being strong enough to let go of Big Bang, all my past, as beautiful as it was at time, it was just a filthy show window because I felt nothing but darkness. So, the hospital would be a reference to T.O.P's overdose in 2017 after receiving extreme public backlash from his cannabis scandal. Again, if I had some, I would smoke a joint right now just to piss off some people that would have a problem with it, to be honest. God damn. Damn. Yo, I'm in love with this album, truly. The more I think about it, the more my smile just fucking
This painting is another mix showing his Da Vinci.
There's the part from ooh. Yeah, this drop is just so fucking good. Oh man. Because I was wondering, this song started and I was like, how the fuck are they going to get to the part from Studio 54? Where does that sound come from? And man, that showing his Da Vinci smart. T.O.P speaks about himself in the third person, creating distance, framing himself as a subject to be studied rather than a celebrity to be judged. The Da Vinci reference is significant. Leonardo da Vinci was a painter, sculptor, architect, musician, engineer, and scientist simultaneously. T.O.P is asserting the same multidisciplinary intelligence, which is pretty cool. I mean, this is honestly something that you cannot take away from him, because his referencing game has always been this on point. His the way he creates parallels and the way he equates himself to other individuals from the past, something that he always had in him. So man, this is amazing. Wonder if the blazing sun is also like a reference,
This painting is another mix showing his
or just like the heat itself. Never mind.
여긴 어때 내리쬐 볕에 험한 생각관념을 벗어내 절대적인 온도의 형태 어때 여긴 어때 여긴 어때 내리쬐 볕에 험한 생각관념을 벗어내 절대적인
That Pulp Fiction dance.
내 토끼고 아주 빵빵한 이야기꾼 살짝 열어볼까 판도라 상자 속 잡동사니고 내 토끼고 길이 달라 볼리 던지고 완전 보내버릴 수도 있지 던지고 눈을 감고 뛰자 이지고 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 여긴 어때
God damn. So I kind of talked about the second verse in my Studio 54 reaction, but just because there's like some annotation here, let's see. So the rabbit hole is more of a reference to Alice, is a plunge into a world that operates completely by different rules. Pandora's box is the world's evil, like, he talks about Pandora's box that is full of junk and tea being gossip, and, you know, everybody is in the act of sipping the tea, especially when it comes to T.O.P in his past, the scandal, the whole incident and everything, you know, and even him coming back now, even him being in, you know, fucking Squid Games 2, as we saw in the self-crucifixion song with the audio bits, the sound bites from like the broadcast and whatnot. So Pandora's box is the container of the world's evil, but also crucially of hope. T.O.P's rabbit hole is his creative mind, chaotic pact, operating on its own logic. He is inviting the listener, but with a warning. You're gonna get some good, but you're gonna get some bad with it as well. Like, if you're not prepared to dive, don't fucking dive into it. And if you're ready, then dive head first, basically. So it's full of junk and honey, darkness and warmth, the full unfiltered reality of who he is. And I love that because he is not trying to be a quote-unquote idol. He's not trying to be perfect. He's showing that the perfection is within the imperfection, that nobody's fucking perfect. Everybody's got, you know, darkness in them, skeletons. He's not trying to hide it because there's no use in it, because it's the one thing that would prevent him from being himself unapologetically. He wouldn't go through the self-crucifixion if he didn't let people into his Pandora's box, which sounds a little bit suggestive now that I'm saying it like that, but you know what I mean. But the whole thing is like, you get the whole me with this album. You get the whole me You get the whole me if you follow me. The good, the bad, the ugly. Was that a movie reference on my part? Anyway, let's continue. Seoul Chaos. Seoul, the city. Chaos, which I guess is a double entendre. Ooh.
서울시에 사는 기분 매일 맛이 가는 기분 분홍 날개를 단 예쁜 코끼리와 눈이 돌아간 다람쥐들 기억나니 새도 자극적인 행복 The left wings, the right wings 떠올라타 내 열기구 떨어지면 고기 덩어리들 구름 위를 걷는 기분 That's amazing 퀴자를 부르자 얼씨구 절씨구 높은 하늘에 이맞춤 우주 안에 한 핏줄 어중이도 떠중이도 떠돌이들 떠올라타 내 열기구 가위바위보 국내가는 림보
Wait, let's take it back. Holy shit. It is kind of funny because in ADHD he talks about Pandora's box, that it's both like there's the good and the bad. That's what you're gonna get with me. It kind of feels like he's creating a similar parallel to Soul in a way because of how chaotic it is, but also how it seemingly is very pretty on the outside from someone looking in. You know, if you're a tourist, if you watch Soul online, it seems like, you know, this incredible place, which I would absolutely love to visit. But he also makes it feel like it's almost like the city that never sleeps, because your mind never sleeps while you're in it as well, because it's so chaotic. It's one thing to kind of like visit it, it's another thing to live in it. Pretty pink-winged elephants and squirrels with spinning eyes. T.O.P describes Seoul not as a real city, but as a fever dream, a cartoon where nothing obeys normal logic. After years of isolation, stepping back into Seoul feels genuinely surreal, like re-entering a world that kept moving without him. So he's basically Steve Rogers at the end of fucking the first Captain America movie, 84 years after he's been frozen. He now goes, where was he? In New York City, and it looks like a fucking alien place to him, because he's not used to it. So if you fall, you're just chunks of meat. It feels like walking on clouds. It's very interesting. Hold up, let's see. T.O.P positions himself above political and cultural tribalism, so that's why he says left wings, right wings, everyone climb aboard my hot air balloon. Everyone is welcome in his balloon, which I really, really appreciate that, because he kind of like puts himself above, you know, politics. But the next line is a bit of a dark joke. Fall off and you're just meat. The warmth of the invitation is immediately undercut by the coldness of the drop. Seoul's social hierarchy is brutal. The city cheers you on the way up and discards you the moment you drop. He lived that firsthand. And I guess that kind of like relates to many people. Obviously, he has the right to make that parallel because he lived that life and he knows exactly how realistic that is for him. But it's like anyone who makes it to the top and is cheered, the second you make it to the top, people cannot wait to see you fall off. And the second you fall off, there's no fucking parachute out there for you to save you from a nasty landing. Like, people cheer you on and then they cheer for your downfall.
우주 안에 한 핏줄 어중이도 떠중이도 떠돌이들 떠올라타 내 열기구 가위바위보 국내가는 림보 스펙트럼 네 지구에 너는 내 도바이어 난 매일밤 fancy welcome to my fancy bomb 오방색 무지개 드럼이제 홀로그램 열기구 내 음악은 미술 영국이쯤 브라탄 뮤즘 lyrical lovely move kissing with Kevin crew we perfectly like Metal Major and Elmas
Damn, wait. It's like, there's so much to unpack. I think that Dubai Oil is kind of like literally like talking about the like Dubai rich is something that most people can't even fathom. He says rock paper scissors off to paradise, limbus petrum, sorry. In Catholic theology, limbus petrum is the place where souls wait between death and paradise, not hell, not heaven. So if this was supernatural, this would be purgatory, I guess. The in between. Top spent years there. Post scandal. Took him many, many years before we saw him again post Big Bang. Post overdose. Post scandal. Not quite destroyed, but not yet reborn. Rock, paper, scissors decides who gets out randomly or arbitrarily, who gets redeemed and who doesn't. Isn't always about merit. Sometimes it's about chance. That is really, really fucking amazing. And rock, paper, scissors is probably one of the most popular games that they play in Korea, especially if you watch a lot of variety content, as I do. It's basically like the go-to game whenever something needs to be decided. Five-colored rainbow, Joan Mitchell hologram. So John Mitchell was an abstract expressionist painter known for her large emotionally charged works filled with strong colors and bold expressive brushstrokes. Her paintings often drew inspiration from memories of landscapes rather than exact scenes. This is why they came across as overwhelming and full of movement rather than having a clear structure. When T.O.P references her, he captures the same visual and emotional power to describe his experience as in Soul. Like, literally, like the contradictory between they're going to prop you up and then they're going to fucking eat you alive. And like the whole rock, paper, scissors, you know, you never know if you're going to get that shot. Sometimes it's just, you know, by chance. So there, everything feels overstimulating and always in motion. The city that basically never fucking sleeps in a way, or never, I don't know what's a different analogy, but T.O.P refers to it as a hologram, suggesting that it feels distant and not entirely real, implying that he is surrounded by all of this intensity and stimulation. He does not feel completely connected to it. Instead, it's like he's watching it from a slight distance rather than being fully immersed in it. So yeah, I mean, for someone who kind of like stepped aside and now is going back in, it almost feels like it's an alien place for him in a way, for many reasons, obviously. So there's also a reference to Museum Leum. So Museum Leum is Samsung's prestigious contemporary art museum, one of the most important private art collections in Asia. T.O.P is a serious art collector who has exhibited work and collaborated with major artists. By placing his music in the same sentence as Leum, he is making a direct claim that this album basically belongs in that conversation. This is not a pop chart album to be discussed where it places on a billboard. This is a work of art. Damn. So the individual is Twombly, an American painter known for chaotic, scrolled, apparently childlike canvases that reward deep looking. His work looks messy until you understand it, then it looks genius. So he basically sees himself in the same way. Which is, again, with all of his referencing, it's something that he always had in him. That's who he always was. So I'm absolutely in love with the fact that he equates it to someone so fucking specific that you really, like, I'm doing this reaction and I'm learning so much about fucking art and all kinds of different individuals throughout history and whatever. Like, not a lot of people can do that with their albums like that, you know? So if I were just to listen to the song without any context, I would enjoy it, sure, but it would kind of like equate itself to like this messy look. And then when you look deeper and you kind of like start to understand kind of like the context and everything, suddenly you're like, oh shit, this dude is a fucking genius with this shit. So he also says, kissing with caviar and Krug, we are a perfect match, like made to measure at Hermes. So Krug is one of the most expensive champagnes in existence. It's not a luxury flex. Krug signals genuine connoisseurship. And obviously champagne and caviar mix well. Very, very, very well. Not that I know. I hate fucking caviar. Not a fan of tiny balls in my mouth. Anyway, sorry. I had to make that joke. Made to measure at Hermes, not off the rack, not even bespoke at a lesser house, the very top. T.O.P. top isn't performing wealth here. He is performing taste, which is a different and more interesting thing entirely. So it is safe to assume that this album, to kind of like put it in the context of Top, is going to age like fine wine. That's kind of like what this album is meant to be.
Yo, 도시의 여러분, 다 입에 무게가 품.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 미세먼지 타고 pump up the volume. 하늘 나는 기분. Hello, hi, I'm so high. 쩍 핥아 봐라. 떨어지는 땀방울 나약해라. 주전부리 완벽한 먹거리 왔다리 갔다리 너와 내 chemistry 얼레리 꼴레리 정신없는 거머리 절정의 symphony 저항 불가 gravity.
Holy shit. I want to take it back to this third verse because it hit like a motherfucker. Like it had so much grit, like the way it hit. And him saying, I am me. Because it's not just like a rhetorical thing, you know, it's a statement. You know, I am an authentic creation in a city that feels manufactured. That's if I'm translating his words correctly. You people of soul, everything in your mouths is just foam. Foaming at the mouth. You can also take it as that way. You can't wait to cheer on someone, and then you cannot wait to fucking hate on them and put them fucking down and critique them for everything. Like, look at some of the criticism that female idols, for example, get. Like, literally, One Young of IVE was critiqued for sweating. Like, there's actual fucking weirdos online that obsess over a woman sweating during an actual live performance and try to take it as something negative to egg on her. There's even something with a male idol, Son of ATs, who also had a similar criticism, and I'm blown away by the fact that there's so many people that actually support that shit. But it's like, you cannot wait to foam at the mouth for any fucking thing, no matter how unrealistic and unfucking unimaginably dumb shit, batshit crazy it is. I'm getting heated. Sorry. Let's read into this a little bit more. Soul's people, its media, its cultural conversation, it's all noise, no substance. The city that produced and destroyed him is still running on empty talk. Top cuts through it with his bloodline, his Korean identity, his roots. Fine dust is Seoul's chronic air pollution problem, a real and grim daily reality for residents. It's also a metaphor for the toxic atmosphere. I mean, that's fucking beautiful, to be honest. You know, if the city is literally toxic, why would you be surprised if some of the people of that city are toxic as hell with it too? So he writes it anyway, but he names it for what it is. I'm not afraid of being me in a city that would want to fucking destroy me, and I would continue being me in spite of the city that it is. So there's apparently, he says, feels like I'm flying in the sky. The beat of my wings is first class. Hello, I'm so high. This could be a reference to the song High High by GD and Top, G-Dragon of course. Some of the lyrics in that song are fly, fly, touch the sky, which feels like a Kanye West, like that, wasn't it a music video with like about evil Knievel or some shit like that? Anyway, so the song is about being untouchable, high on life and living in the moment. So that could be a bit of a reference to that apparently, and him even saying, "Are you mad?" Like, are you to those who want to hate on him? What you want to be mad? Stay mad. So there's also Larry. I'm not sure what that is. There's no annotation, so I can't even like figure it out. Dizzy little leeches. You want to leech on to every bit of high that you can, only to, much like the beginning of the song references to the fact that, you know, if you fall, no one is going to be there to save you. And a symphony at its climax, gravity you cannot resist, which is funny with climaxing going high and then like the gravity that is ironically going to pull you down. Which actually now, funny enough, reminds me of what was the song? Wait, hold up. What was the song from Ibermensch with G-Dragon? About like that contraption where you can't hit the floor. Hold up. What G-Dragon? Wait, hold up. I'm gonna lose my mind now if I don't. What was the name of it? Let's see. Gyro Drop. It's interesting, but maybe it's just me. Anyway, let's look back.
Yo, 도시의 여러분 다 입에 무게가 품 원산지는 대한민국 위선적이고 Yeah, 미세먼지 타고 Pump up the volume 하늘 나는 기분 Hello, hi, I'm so high 쩍쩍 핥아 봐라 떨어지는 땀방울 나의 약대라 주전부리 완벽한 먹거리 왔다리 갔다리 너와 내 chemistry All let it go let it 정신없는 거머리 절정의 symphony 저항 불가 gravity I'm top master T.O.P
Losing my mind, going crazy like Studio 54. Damn, that was amazing. Let's see. Topmost King Full Moon. Full Moon is a completion of the lunar cycle. In his song Studio 54 from the same album, the moon was a symbol of quiet rebirth in darkness. Now it's full maximum light, maximum presence. The cycle is complete. Topmost King connects directly to his name, T.O.P. He was always at the top. He just had to survive long enough to remember it, which is also pretty fucking cool as far as like something like Zero Coke, like hitting like your lowest low. And at your lowest, you want to have someone, then waking up to be reborn, basically. And just like, even like the self-crucifixion song and like just the songs in general where I had to kind of like had to go through my lowest low to realize that there was a blessing within like this curse, that you can look at it from both ways. You can look at it as a curse and fucking die with it, or you can look at it like a blessing in disguise in a way. That's what I meant to say, not a blessing within the curse, but like a blessing in disguise, that it liberated me and began the fucking lunar cycle, or however you want to go with it. Anyway, let's continue. So again, I did check out Desperado, but just for the context of the album, I am going to listen to it again, but not talk much about it because I already did. But it does feel very, now that it, after Soul Chaos and like the darkness, the lunar cycle is complete, full moon, and now you're born again with Moon Man. And the doom like feels like a Doom Data maybe kind of like reference or something. And kind of known in Korea to talk about Seoul as well. The city that he was made in and also almost destroyed him.
모든 규경이로 와 석양도 흘러나가 예쁜 보랏빛의 또 반짝이 파라밤밤밤 뛰기다가 흥미로운 네 육덕 라인 도도한 척이 너의 높은 콧대와 이거 그대로도 봄을 섬지도 윤기가 흘러 대정복할래 폭발하는 잭팟 인생 한방 대한민국에 난 조금 유명한 친구 오늘부터 너의 생활은 좀 달라지걸 너무 mad We're born again 두둠둠 속삭임도 나긋나긋 so cool 말이 필요 없지 넌 신의 한수 이 밤의 온도는 so hot 여름 난 녹고 있는 고드름 So I love you, love you 완전히 빙고 다 앞이 없는 킹콩 그녀와 주고받는 빙퐁 리그리그링딩동 Yeah baby 소리 지르지 지레지른 각도 Sometimes I'm a real game 펄거든 예쁜 문학서 우린 피카소금 Chemistry like Tom과 Jerry Give me a clue I want to break your rules 너란 여자의 완벽히 흡수 햇빛이 달아오름 So I love you
Again, if you're interested in my first reaction to Desperado, check out the music video reaction where I talked about the song too, the lyrics. Okay. This definitely makes a lot of sense when it comes after like something like Soul Chaos. Also, I think some of the comments said that Paul Gogwin actually sounds like Gang, where he says sometimes I'm a real gang Paul Gogwin. But in a certain language, it actually sounds like it rhymes really, really well. I don't remember the exact comment, but for some reason, part of it stuck with me. So, yeah, just wanted to touch on that a little bit as well. But let's continue. Next song is For Fans.
T.O.P. I'm back.
Yeah, you are. Ooh, this feels a little bit more old school. In a poppy way. Damn.
What's going on? 이번 생은 너와 둘이 함께 bravo. What's going on? 내 꼭갈콘 뾰족해도 우린 서로 T.O.P.
Damn, let's go back. The red, orange, yellow, green, my hidden gem. I'm sure it's deeper than that, but for me, it's like his character's name was literally Thanos. He's got all the fucking Infinity Stones. So let's see if that actually it relates more so to Last Dance. Of course, it's deeper, but you know. So this is a direct reference to one of T.O.P's verses in Last Dance. In that part of the song, he was describing the surreal, vibrant, and overwhelming experience of being on stage. These colors represent the stage lights and the emotional, ecstatic feeling of receiving fan adoration and love. And also, like the chorus itself, when I feel your hand in mine, I'm scared of myself, wish I could just freeze right there. Almost like afraid of letting that moment waste away and never get it back. You know, scared of getting bored, that this feeling will become basically no longer reinvigorating, but rather something that becomes almost like if I lose my passion and I get bored, I'm afraid of what I might become in a way. It's like it reminds me of you would see idols. There's different idols who have like almost like a ritual of sorts. I noticed it for the first time when I reacted to, I think it was Born Pink Memories, like this little variety show for Blackpink's tour. And in one of the concerts, in a few of them actually, Lisa was like doing some sort of a prayer or something like that. And there's like these nerves, and I think that James Hetfield of Metallica was like, he said something along the lines of, if I don't feel like that fear, those jitters, like if your heart doesn't skip a beat, so I'm paraphrasing, but if you don't feel excitement and fear before you step on stage, that's when it's time to walk away. If you're no longer excited by it, aka get bored maybe as well. If that moment that you want to freeze right there because of how precious it is, you're afraid of that moment fleeting and becoming something boring. So I think that he's kind of like trying to hold on to that feeling and not letting it ever waste away because of how much he loves this. Anyway.
T.O.P 떠나니 달로 마늘이 파서 rockets 미친 광석 돌아오는 약속 사람의 환상 저대가 멜로 작동 그녀와 다틀 먼 길에 가야 하니 도무지 알 수 없는 눈빛 난 슬픈 그 눈빛에 시간날 마침 헤어지자는 말도 했지 몇 번 세 번이 수백 번 단점이 많이 보여 괴로워 허나 장점이 훨씬 커 너와 나 잡은 손을 느낄 때 난 내가 두려워
I love how K-poppy the song is.
실직이 두려워 You're my go-kart What's going on 이번 생은 너와 둘이 함께 Bravo What's going on 내 go-kart 뾰족해도 우린 서로 T.O.P 두려운 건지 가끔씩 우리 둘이 서로 떠나간 겁이 나 You're my go-kart What's going on 이번 생은 너와 둘이 함께 Bravo What's going on 내 go-kart 뾰족해도 우린 서로 T.O.P
Man, I love this so much because I love that when the songs reference the fans in this album, whether it's Self-Crucifixion at the end with the apology from like the soundbite from the broadcast, he talks about, sorry for the fans. In Small Filthy show window, I believe he starts off the song with "This is for the fans," right? If I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, this song for my fans. And now for fans is literally a song for the fans, and in all three of these songs, whenever the fans are referenced, he is some of his most vulnerable. It's almost like the fans are the real people that supported him through thick and thin and never gave up on him when he at one point in time gave up on himself, or was about to give up on himself, and basically came back, got his freedom back and broke those chains and whatnot. But like the vulnerability, like I'm scared of myself, scared of getting bored, wanting to break up, let's see, where was it? She said, let's break up more than a few times, hundreds, maybe thousands. Saw your flaws and it hurt me, but your good outweighs it all. If you think about it, in Studio 54, in ADHD, he talks about the Pandora box, which both comes in with the negative, but also the positive. Like, I saw so many flaws that hurt me, but the good within that Pandora's box outweighs all the negatives. That's at least how I'll fucking take this song. But like, I love the vulnerability again, like the feeling of uncertainty of tomorrow, feeling uneasy. Sometimes I'm afraid that we might lose each other and not wanting to let that moment go away, wanting to freeze because it's a perfect fucking moment that I never want to take for granted, So this was absolutely beautiful, and from like the way the song sounded, it definitely felt like a song from like 15 years ago or something like that. It definitely had like that vibe to it, instrumentally as well, and it's fun, it's bouncy, it legitimately felt like the one song out of all of these where T.O.P, even though still was very vulnerable, he was probably having the most fun as well. So let's get into the second to last song. Okay. God damn.
얼마나 오래 기다렸는지 우리 처음 만난 날에 첫날 밤을 지워 해가 뜨기 전 새벽이 참 어둡다더니 나 사회랑 그 구사했던
It's always the darkest before dawn.
넌 잠이 많은 요정 디스코 팡팡 난 수고래 주정 나 원래 왕따 오로지 창자 넌 잠이 많은 요정 난 사회 왕따 knock knock pow 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 더 나쁜 길 너갈 수 있는데 아무것도 기댈 것도 없을 때 막다른 길 너는 부실게 내 음악에 널 안아줄게 지구밖 달려행도 보류식 완벽한 그 feed
That's so interesting, because I'd even postpone a moon trip beyond Earth, because how many people can actually say that and for it to have any merit? Because literally, like the whole SpaceX, he was literally selected to go to the fucking moon and it didn't pan out. So it is kind of interesting. The moon trip is literal. He was selected for the SpaceX Dear Moon project, which was ultimately, unfortunately, cancelled. The moon has been his central symbol of rebirth and artistic identity throughout the album. So for him to create his artistic identity within like the moon and be like, for you, I would postpone that trip, which is the literal representation of the chorus of him saying, I could go down an even worse path where there's nowhere at all to lean on, and still my music will hold you close. Like nothing will keep me away from you. Which is, man, this is so fucking beautiful. Like honestly, I'm blown away. And like again, talking about, they say the darkest time is right before sunrise, right? Like the Dark Knight quote with Harvey Dent or Harvey Kent, Harvey Dent, Two-Face, delivering the line, you know, it's always the darkest before dawn. I was shut in, cut off from society, literally the fucking crucifixion of T.O.P and everything that he's been through. I was always an outcast, literally saw chaos. Represented that beautifully in that song. Talking about the alcoholic nature as well, the drunk nature as well. I was always an outcast, focusing only on creating, which is also really, really interesting, because like the only thing that I was hyper focused on was the music itself. And now the refrain is like, I'd postpone even the moon trip for you. Like that perfect you that you are for me, I would do the dearest things to my heart, I would postpone them just for you. So like to build the entire album for like the moon symbolism, only to almost like it's like the main hero in a movie, we're fighting through thick and thin, nearly dying in the first act, redeeming himself in the second, and in the third act he finally got he's about to get his victory, his redemption, only to give it away to save his loved one, or to be with his loved one, or something along those lines. Like literally kind of like creating the impression that that thing that I worked so hard, that's not what defines me, in a way. So damn, inspiration flows. You give me Stenthal syndrome, which is the name of the song, which is a psychosomatic condition where exposure to overwhelming beauty, great art, sublime landscapes causes physical symptoms, rapid heartbeat, dizziness, fainting, and even hallucinations. I feel like I'm getting all of those from this album right now, to be brutally honest with you. Named after the French writer who described experiencing it in Florence, surrounded by Renaissance masterpieces. T.O.P uses it here for both a person and the art itself. The two are inseparable in the song. Great inspiration hits like a physical shock. Beauty is almost violent in its intensity. For someone who has spent his entire life collecting art and making it, this is not a hyperbole. Jesus, I am experiencing all of those symptoms from this fucking album. So shout out to T.O.P for this amazing fucking creation.
완벽한 그 figure, you my sensation. 세게 때려 박치 뇌리에 번쩍 영감이 막 흘러, you give me Stendhal syndrome. Stendhal syndrome, Stendhal syndrome. Good morning, lady. You walking with my killer case. Coffee do credit. Prefer overact vanity. Gonna make money for us. 난 희망에는 더. 아침 식사 함께 써더 비스. 경매 일정을 논의해 또 매일에 들어가 고민해 매일 삶미술 작품들에 오늘 설치한 헤드쉐. 감상의 팝 샴페인. There was then, this is now. We are hang, say your hand.
I don't like. He literally references like he already created the connection between him being an artist and him being an art collector as being one, basically. Musician and art collector are intertwined in his mind and what he created throughout this album. So him kind of like, over breakfast we describe Sotheby's auction schedules. Then I check my email, thinking over the art pieces I'll buy tomorrow. Literally him being an art collector. So there's so much going on. So he basically kind of like describes love with a morning with coffee, truffle, Ed Ruka on the Wall, who is an American pop art legend best known for paintings of words and phrases rendered with cinematic precision. He is the artist. Yeah, I was kind of like looking at the actual album cover. He is the artist that made the Top Spot Another Dimension album cover. His piece, That Was Then, This Is Now, is a direct textual statement that Top quotes here as the final word on his relationship with his own past. Top is a serious documented art collector. His apartment is his interior world made visible, and he's letting someone into it over breakfast. That's intimacy at its most specific and most real. So not only I would postpone the moon landing and whatever the fuck for you to show you how much I love you, but I would let you into my home and have breakfast with me and show you everything that I am, because my house is the window to my fucking soul and whatnot. Ugh, Jesus. Man, damn. This reaction is going to be long as fuck. And like he literally creates a cinematic perspective of like a movie being shot from a POV. Damn. I forgot what I was going to say. Honestly, I'm blown away. Like, literally equating love and equating the art, the music, or the woman, almost intertwining all of them and creating, like, you're giving me this Stendhal syndrome where my heart fucking beats rapidly. I'm getting, like, psycho. I'm going psycho. I forgot what I was going to say, but you create like this effect on me to where you impact me in such a way that I'm willing to let you in. I'm willing to postpone, and I'm willing to put the symbolism of who I am, the definition of who I am that I described throughout this album. I'm willing to put it aside for you and let you into my home and into my soul and heart and whatever, you know, not to sound too cringe, but like it is amazing how open Top is being in this song. I don't even know what the fuck to say, honestly. Psychosomatic, I believe, is what I was going to say, and I just said psycho, so, you know. Anyway, final song on this album. I am over fucking stimulated with this one. I've been recording for over 2 hours, to be honest. So hopefully I'll be able to cut this down to like an hour 30. Not really sure. But Be Solid is the final song on the album. Let's go. Yes, boo?
조금만 더 들어가네 멘탈은 가끔 아브라갑다 넌 되고 싶어 포근한 이 매일 쓰고 싶어 널 위한 시 그냥 슬픈 눈에 흘러비 되고 싶어 보다 좋은 이 난 되고 싶어 포근한 일 매일 쓰고 싶어 널 위한 시 그냥 슬픈 눈에 흘러 비 되고 싶어 I wanna be more solid 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 보다 포근포근 solid 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 wanna be more solid
Damn.
yeah
이 모든 확신 허공에 또 외치 날 섭섭하게 사실
그대와 맺힌 이제 나쁜 대신
Ooh. Damn.
빛나는 달빛 달빛 나의 안정된 길넌 나의 vaccine vaccine 너 원하는 곳 어디든지 나나나나나 너와 함께 갈 거야 Be solid
Holy shit.
yeah Be solid
Damn.
폭풍우에 배어가 된 소리쳐 목이 메와 왜 조금만 더 뜸들여가네 멘탈은 가끔 아브라갑다 난 되고 싶어 포근한 일 매일 쓰고 싶어 널 위한 시 그냥 슬픈 눈에 흘러 비 되고 싶어 보다 좋은 난 되고 싶어 포근한 일 매일 쓰고 싶어 널 위한 시 그냥 슬픈 눈에 흘러 비 되고 싶어 I wanna be more solid 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 보다 포근포근 solid 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 wanna be more solid
Damn. This is, you know what's I l- I love the fact that at the end of the day, the album and like the final dimension that it basically kind of like reaches is like the a few songs ago was kind of like the representation of the lunar cycle and becoming full moon and everything, which I think even like the moon was again referenced their shining moonlight, right? As I reached that full moon, basically, at the end of the day, above everything, above the arts, the fans, the woman, which are all kind of like in ways intertwined within songs, like for fans, Desperado intertwines more so like the woman with the art, Stendhal Syndrome intertwines the woman with the art, maybe a little bit of fans, but I don't like to obsess too much with, references to fans because, these are grown-ass fucking adult men that can sing about whatever they want to. So if I feel like it's being a little bit more romantic, that's how I'm going to talk about it. But I'm not going to, die on a hill that is not worth dying. Because there's literally a song for fans anyway, and he starts fucking, the song, a filthy show window, a small filthy show window for the fans. So there's enough emphasis for fans anyway. So whether this is that as well or not, or is just like for a romantic purpose, at the end of the day, for whoever it is, whether it's for the fans, for the art, for the woman, he just at the end of the day wants to be a solid fucking dude. A stand-up man, a stand-up guy who is just a decent human being. Which kind of feels very appropriate in contrast with the first song, where everything was taken away from him and he was crucified by the media, and then he created his own self-crucifixion, by putting himself out there and reliving all of those media sound bites. I don't want to even think about how, tough it must have been to be at the studio and actually piece those sound bites together of everything that was said about him and reliving his past, and like the theory about like fucking the beginning of ADHD being potentially the woman who says wake up, that could be his mother at the hospital where he overdosed and came back to life and whatnot. But like the fact that self-crucifixion is like the becoming completely fucking naked in front of the world and crucifying myself, to then having the album end on a song where I just want to be a decent human being. I just want to be solid. I want to be dependable. I want to be real. It's not about artsy fartsy. It's not about luxury. It's not about any of that. I just want to be a decent, solid man for whoever it is, the art, the woman, the fans, whatever. All can be equally important in reference, I guess. This was fucking incredible. Like literally become a wasteland after the storm. I scream until my throat chokes. Take away the tiny darkness. Even acknowledging like the mental errors, which is like the mental struggles and everything. So throughout all of it, everything that I've been through and everything that I have come back from, I want to be warm. I don't want to be dark and cold. I want to be warm and comforting. I want to write poems for you, not to write, notes that could be very dark and potentially make you think that something bad is going to happen. I want to be a better person. I want to be solid. I want to be the fucking, sunshine at the end of your rainy day instead of you being the one who stops me from going down a dark path. I want to be that dependable solid for you. So, yeah, that's how I'll take it at the very least. Obviously, with all of that being said, everything that I said in this reaction, my understanding of T.O.P, the artist, is very limited. Some of you guys who have been VIPs since the very beginning and have followed and supported and fucking wanted to, bash your head through a wall when he was ridiculed for like the cannabis and the marijuana and all that kind of shit. Like, I'm sure that you guys can make that much more connections, that this feels more, this speaks more to you than it ever does me, because I lack that connection that I had with T.O.P. I discovered Big Bang relatively late. Literally Still Life was my first ever reaction to Big Bang, but, obviously I got the chance to learn more about them and kind of like deep dive into them throughout the YouTube channel and the Patreon as well, watching documentaries and everything. So, I'm not trying to undersell my understanding, but I also realize that some of you guys watching this reaction may understand them on another level that I simply will not be able to. So if my reaction was at all kind of like, did any justice at all to the album, to T.O.P, if I understood things correctly or incorrectly, let me know in the comment section. At the end of the day, I really hope that if this reaction actually turns out to be fucking 2 hours long or something like that, that if you stuck around and actually watched all of it, I hope that it wasn't a waste of time for you. So if you actually did, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel just by watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. Again, I cannot, say that enough. Thank you to T.O.P for giving us this album that legitimately feels like one of the most artistic albums I've ever not just reacted to on the channel, but listened to in my entire life. I was honestly blown away by this, and I feel like you could probably dive into this for another hour and find that much more in it. So if I was able to do any justice to this album, that's my hope at the end of the day, and that it was kind of enjoyable at the same time. It is a reaction after all, but definitely with a major pause warning. So probably gonna title this video as a deep dive, but at the same time, I hope that it all made sense. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you all next time. Be well and safe wherever you are, and have a wonderful rest of the week.